Welcome to TisTalk.
Welcome to TisTalk. This is a podcast coming from Tisbury, Wiltshire and surrounding villages. I'm Julianne Murphy.
And I'm Mary Myers. Welcome to TisTalk. It's Monday, May the 12th. So, this week, Anne Martin is going to be presenting with me.
Hello, Mary.
It's fantastic that you can do it this week, Anne. And Julianne's having a bit of time off. But anyway, Anne. Now, a lot of people know you, but some people don't in Tisbury. I don't think many don't know you, but anyway.
I don't think that's true.
But now you've just been to China on an amazing trip. Just tell us quickly about it.
Yes, that's right. I've been leading tours to China for, well, nearly 40 years, I should think. But I've had a break of 6 years because of COVID. So this was my first trip back to China for 6 years, taking a group. So I was very excited to go back again and feel what China is like now. Not a lot's changed, although it's become very much more modern. Like us, everything is online, payments online, but it's also I noticed that everywhere we went, we were showing our passports the whole time, so they knew where we were. And Chinese people are also showing their ID cards to get in everywhere.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of security as well in China, which you could think is kind of a bad thing because they know where everyone is. But on the other hand, you feel incredibly safe in big cities in China. You can take your phone out. You're not going to have it stolen. You're not going to be mugged. You don't get any drunk
Hassle.
people rolling around or any hassle. So it has good and bad points, really.
And you took a whole group, a lot of them from Tisbury.
Some, yes.
Yes.
I had a group of 12 people. I had 4 people actually from the Tisbury area, and it's really just family and friends now. It's a very relaxed group. We have an itinerary, we have a programme, and we have local guides, but to a certain extent we can sort of decide how we do things, and we can eat in local restaurants and markets and so on. So it's a bit of a more free-flowing type of tour than you might get with a proper tour company.
No, but you're proper because you speak Chinese, you've been there for years, or you lived there for years.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
So that's
Yes, and I just really enjoy now going back and showing China to people and hoping that they love it as much as I do.
I bet they did.
Well, more or less, I think, yes.
Yeah. And is it your last time there? Was this a sort of goodbye trip?
No, definitely not. I've actually got a visa for 2 years, multiple entry, so I'm already dreaming about my next trip.
Okay.
I don't think it could ever be a last trip because China's very much in my blood, and I have to keep going back, I think.
All right.
Yes.
Are you going to give a talk about it or anything to people here in Tisbury or Nadder Valley? Apart from this little vignette you're giving here on TisTalk?
I suppose so, yes.
That would be really good.
Yes, I could well do, yes. If there's interest and people want to hear about it, yes.
I think they would. A nice slideshow. I hope you took loads of photos. I imagine you did.
I did, although I've got such a massive library of old photos. I'm busy trying to digitise them all and get them all off slides and so on. So, yes, I do take photos, inevitably. You can't go anywhere without taking photos now.
Well, we'll watch this space.
Some of you may know I'm also involved in the Tisbury History Society, where I'm currently the chair and the membership secretary, and we've recently published a book called Eminent Tisburgers, which was a complete sellout on the first 200 copies, and we're going to do a reprint very soon. So if you would like to have a copy of the book, you can contact me at secretary@tisburyhistory.co.uk, and I'll reserve a copy for you when we've done the reprint.
Okay, thanks very much for that reminder, Anne. I enjoyed that book, but I'm not letting go of my copy. So people have got to buy it if they want it from you. Now, let's just have a little rundown of the show. We're going to have Dick Budden first, looking back on his 2 years as our councillor on Wiltshire Council. Then we have Anne's report, your report, Anne, from VE Day, which was just a couple of days ago, and what an amazing day that was in Tisbury. Then we hear about a big hole that Peter Shallcross and his colleagues are digging on the hillside in Wallmead Farm and explaining a bit about that. Then we have a little bit of news about the Southwestern that some people may well be rather interested in because it's been standing empty for so long. And Jerry Mason from the Parish Council has had a watching brief over that site and tells us bit of news about that. Then we have What's-Ons, and we play out with another bit of music, not BE Day, but May Day, from the May the 5th celebrations around the maypole at Ansty.
First up, Mary talks to Dick Budden. As you may know, there's been a change of councillors, and Dick Budden has stood down and Jerry Murray has been elected as the new councillor for Tisbury on Wiltshire Council. Mary went to see Dick and began by asking him about his proudest achievements as the councillor.
Well, the first thing I think it's important to say is it was a huge privilege for me to represent the people of Tisbury. I'm amazed actually that it was only 2 years. It seems to have been much longer than that. But there we go. I like to think that in that time I've been able to do a few things for the people of Tisbury and things that mattered to them. It's important to share with people that as a councillor you can get access to the management of the council, and if necessary to the very senior people on the council, and that enables you to make things happen that perhaps ordinary residents find difficult to do for themselves. Now, there are not a lot of examples of that, and certainly not a lot that I can talk about publicly, but there were a few cases where individuals with housing needs and individuals with disabilities, for example, appealed to me for help with things that they were finding really intractable. And I was able to get access to the right people, and by putting the arguments to them directly, I was able to make something happen. And that's something that gives one a real sense of having achieved something. That's by far the most important thing for me, to have done that.
And what about something very tangible that happened on your watch, which was the speed limit in Tisbury, the 20 mile an hour? Was that all you're doing?
No, in truth, that was started quite a while before I was elected, and it was started by the energetic campaign led by one or two local residents, taken up by members of the parish council, and like many things associated with roads and road safety, it isn't done quickly. I know myself, because I have been campaigning on road safety issues, that it takes quite some time to make something like that happen. No, the 20 mile an hour limit itself had been introduced initially before I was elected, but while I was in office, we managed to get the 20 mile an hour signage extended to cover the whole of the area that was intended. So I think it's now a complete and done, a completed job.
So it's gone from being just on the high street to all the surrounding roads?
Yes, it now covers the bulk of Tisbury itself. That's to say, down to Tucking Mill on the west, down to the bottom of Court Street on the east.
And do we know that it works? I mean, you can't prove a negative, of course, but so we don't know how many fewer casualties there have been. But
well, all I know is that I myself drive a good deal more cautiously through Tisbury than I used to do.
Yeah.
The truth is that people still drive at excessive speed through Tisbury, despite the signage. We know that because there is, for example, one speed indicator device on the Hindon Lane, and we know from the records which are kept in the memory of that device the speed that people go at, and even in the middle of the night, in the dark, there are cars that have passed that device at well above, at 3 times the limit, more than 3 times the limit. And that's an appalling...
60 miles an hour
more than 60
or more.
miles an hour. On
My
Hindon Lane, where
goodness.
there is no pedestrian footway, where there are
No.
no lights in the middle of the night, where there are cars, it's foolish and it's exceedingly dangerous.
Yeah.
So road safety was one issue, but highways and the maintenance of highways and road maintenance was an ongoing problem. The other bit of good news, apart from Jerry Murray being elected, which I was delighted about, is that there's every prospect now, I'm convinced, that the Lib Dems will take control of the council when the first council meeting takes place on the 20th of this month.
So a cabinet will be formed made up of Lib Dems
Principally
and
made up of Lib
independents.
Dems, but with at least one independent fellow called John Hubbard, who I know and I have a lot of respect for.
And you know who's going to be the chair?
Well, Ian Thorne is the leader of the Lib Dems.
I see, so
and
it'll
he,
be
I think,
him.
will be the leader of the council. I don't think there's any doubt about that. So
Okay.
I'm very optimistic about that.
Right, but we'll see.
Whoever controls Wiltshire Council in the future is going to face tough choices, because changing the council's leadership doesn't increase the amount of money that there is available. And it's important to say that most of the council's income goes on providing services that are a legal obligation, whether it's education or social care or highways or waste collection and disposal. And with many of these, indeed most of them, there's very little opportunity to make savings. And in its recent spring statement, the government, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, made quite plain that in all probability there's going to be less government funding for rural councils like ours, that rather than more.
So our
that
council
gives me an
tax
anxiety,
bills are going
right?
to go up,
Well,
are they?
There is a set limit on how much the council can increase council tax bills without going to a referendum. So that acts as an inhibitor and a control factor. So I don't think a more rapid increase in council tax bills is what concerns me. What concerns me and the anxiety I want to share with people is that in particular we need to be careful to think about the future of those things that are what I might call a discretionary spend, like the leisure and library services at the Nadder Centre and the swimming pool, which for a community of our size are still generously funded by the council from our council tax. And we need to work carefully together to ensure that these services that matter to all of us can survive. There are things we can do to make sure we give the council no reason to cut them back. Make sure we support those facilities, use them, show how popular they are, and work with the council to make sure they're efficiently run and managed. And if we do that, I'm sure they'll be safe for the long term.
And that's partly up to Tisbury Parish Council.
And the parish council has a very important role to play in that. The volunteers who help run the library service are a very important part of that. I haven't listed all of the volunteer groups that contribute so much to Tisbury's character as a place to live, but they're an important part of that too. And of course the swimming club, who are an important part of it also. One of the important things I want to say is how hugely impressed I was when I became a councillor and began to look around at the whole of the community, as it were, at the commitment and energy of so many people who keep our community alive. I've got in mind a whole range of activities, from the annual carnivals like the ones in Charlton, the Four Villages Fete, the one in Donhead St Andrew, as well as those in Tisbury that do such a great job in fundraising every year. But there are the support schemes like those run by Age UK, the Tisbury Memory Group, there's Link Drive, there's the Tisbus scheme that help the less mobile. Then there are all the societies And all the various meeting places across all of the 5 parishes that I was looking after, all of these depend on volunteers to keep them going. We are amazingly well blessed to have all this support.
We are. We are indeed. Yes.
So I pay tribute to them.
Thank you very much. Good luck with the next phase of your life. I'm sure you'll not be retiring from the life of the area at all.
No, I shall continue to come along to parish council meetings, make suggestions. I shall provide advice to Jerry Murray. Hopefully he'll welcome it.
Okay,
and,
good.
to anybody else who's listening.
And you're also active in several societies, aren't you? Natural History Society?
Well, the Natural History Society is the one that I'm a direct contributor to, where I'm the treasurer, and I continue to do that.
Great. So it's not at all goodbye.
No. I'm still here.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Dick.
TisTalk, a podcast from Tisbury on tistalk.buzzsprout.com.
Now, on Thursday 8th, it was the 80th anniversary of VE Day, Victory in Europe, 1945. Anne Martin, who's just sitting next to me here, took part in all the celebrations and soaked up the atmosphere.
I'm in the centre of Tisbury on the day of the VE Day celebrations with David Child. Can you tell us something, David, about how Tisbury is celebrating?
Yes, on this special day we have a variety of events, starting with a remembrance of those from the village who lost their lives during the war, and then moving on to a tribute to all of the village who took part and gave their service so we could live our lives in this country in peace. So the remembrance service will follow, which will be a service of remembrance and commemoration and celebration. And then after that we will join the nation at 12 o'clock in the 2-minute silence, followed, I hope, by lots of people rushing off to get fish and chips, typical British food of the time. And then this afternoon there will be a tea in the Victoria Hall, and this evening we'll end with a big celebratory concert of the old songs sung with gusto by the Tisbury Community Choir. And I hope that'll bring all the very different thoughts people have today together, so whatever people are feeling and emotions will reflect in the events being held.
Oh, that's tremendous. And there are some displays in the church, I believe, as well, aren't there?
Thank you for raising that. There's a wonderful display by the Tisbury Flower Group with a 1940s pram with flowers in and some elements from the 1940s. And then the History Society put forward a very good display board recording the stories and biographies of those who not only lost their lives, but those in the village who served during the Second World War. Well worth going to have a look at.
And we also have an original painting of a Spitfire donated by Anne Allinson for the exhibition, which people should definitely also go and see.
Well, especially as, because Salisbury was where they were constructed, and so the Spitfire has a place in the heart, I'm sure, of lots of people in the area.
Oh, that's good. Thank you very much indeed. Well, we look forward to the celebrations, and I'll be talking to more people involved in the day later. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Tisbury celebrated in the afternoon of VE Day in the Victoria Halls with a fabulous tea. The tables were decked out with Union Jacks, and we had spam sandwiches and corned beef sandwiches, followed by jelly and tinned fruit and condensed milk. Do you remember all those types of things? And then we had jam tarts and all kinds of cakes. And as we were eating our tea, Dave kindly played a recording of the VE Day celebrations in 1945. And we saw the royal family on the balcony of Buckingham Palace joined by Winston Churchill and the crowd roaring. It was incredible to see this so long ago. There were many people sitting in the hall who could remember food from that time and their parents coming home from the Second World War. So a really lovely occasion.
Follow us on Instagram at TisTalk Radio.
Next we have Peter Shallcross of Wallmead Farm. He's a regular on our programme, and Mary went to look at the gash in the hillside above Wallmead Farm to find out what's been going on there.
Right, we're approaching a hole in the ground on Peter's land. And there's a big JCB, 2 JCBs, and a
big
tipper,
big
digger, yeah. So what are we looking at here, Peter, and what are you showing me?
Well, basically looking at a quarry, and you can see how close the stone is to the surface. There's only about a foot of soil,
Yes.
probably less than that,
Yeah,
and then
less.
you've got hard stone, and you've got different layers of stone, and some of it is really, really soft, very useful for cow tracks.
Right.
And you've got to go a long, long way down before you get anything hard, like for building. And even that, when you take it out, it cracks. So, Chitsgrove quarry level will be a long, long way down.
Right.
So this is all broken up stone.
It looks like chalk. Is it chalk? It's very white.
It looks like chalk, and people call it chalk, but it isn't. It's limestone.
Oh, okay.
And it's got all these fossils in it. For example, this one, not the best example, but this is a bivalve.
It's a roundish, it looks
Yeah.
like a shell.
Yeah, like an oyster or something.
Yes.
Rounded oyster.
Ah.
So this is the layer that they're digging in. If you have a look there's quite a few. To make the cow track I've just shown you, it's used, 1,000 tons of this. So they've had to dig a big hole out.
Yeah.
And then they've put the soil on one side and then some other stuff. This is from the old track, we're just standing beside. This will get put back.
Yeah.
And they're still digging out some more stone to finish the cow track.
What do you call this field?
This is home field.
This is home field.
Yes, and this is the one you can see from Tisbury, so
Yes.
everybody's wondering what we're up to. for
Okay.
this. It's basically
Explain.
taking stone out and putting it back, putting different stone back, that is. Yeah.
Oh, we're putting different stone back.
Well, we've got the dirty stone from the old cow tracks, that's going back into it.
Right.
And then there's another thing I'm going to show you just in a minute, and that's going to be a lot of stuff going to be brought out for that as well.
Right. It's a
So
huge
let's go
amount of
over
work.
there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, a bit longer, I think. Yes.
So what we're seeing here is it's just an ordinary green field, and you're saying it's what's going to happen to it?
So this is long ground, this field, and
Yeah.
it's where we've got permission to dig out a big hole in the ground for put our slurry in.
Right.
So we've got 6 months of slurry, and the
Ah.
ground is such that it's so heavy clay that we can actually just dig down, and when the machines pack it hard, it's impermeable.
Right.
So we can just put the muck into that.
Yeah.
But it means moving a lot of material, like 15,000 tons of material. And so this is where it's all happening from. We're just going past the new track that
Yes,
they've
that
made.
looks very new.
And this is
Clean.
yeah, this is topped off with Mendip stone. So it's got our stone from the quarry hole in the bottom.
Right.
But that's too soft for the tractors to use. So we've imported some Mendip stone to go on top.
Right. And these roads or these tracks that you're making are all because the cows need dry routes to go along so they don't
Yes, basically.
make mud all over the
Yeah.
fields.
Yeah, so you
And it's better for their hooves as
Yes,
well.
that's right. So we've actually seen two tracks. The first one we saw was dazzling white with just the stone from the quarry hole,
Yeah.
and that's just for cows. This one is a tractor track to allow access to fill up the slurry lagoon and empty
Right.
it as
Yeah.
well.
I see. So it's mainly for tractors. It's not going to be for
That's right.
cows.
The stone is too hard and abrasive and sharp for cows.
This one.
Yeah, this
right.
one. Yeah, this lagoon for the slurry has been planned for a couple of years.
Right.
So first of all, I tried to get a government grant to do it, but in the end that didn't work out. It was too bureaucratic.
Right.
And it was forcing me to do things I didn't really want to do in terms of infrastructure. So
Right.
this one is much more simple. But this is the old one, and it's very small.
Right.
And this is for the dirty water. So instead of going in the river, it's all collected and pumped up here.
God,
and you
it
see
looks
that-
pretty big to me. It's bigger than a swimming pool anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot deeper.
Yeah.
You can see the pipe which fills it. So that's
Yeah.
connected to the pump at the buildings.
Oh, it
And then
fills
it's
it with
pumped up.
slurry.
Yes, so
Yes.
it's pumped up through that pipe, and then
Right.
it fills it gradually, and then when it's nearly full, then it's emptied on the fields as fertiliser.
Right.
But I'll just take you over to where the new lagoon will be.
Okay. Yeah. So we're just now. What did you say this field is? I mean, we're on the sort of tops of your land, really. I can see water in one direction,
That's
Tisbury to the north, and over to the main barns of your farm.
So
to
that's Fry's
the-
there.
Oh, sorry,
That's the Fry's.
Fry.
So our barns are right down there.
Oh, okay.
You can see the quarry hole down there with the digger working in the distance.
Yes.
So that's down, as you can see, that's right down,
Below us.
yeah, what is it, 20, 30 metres down at
Yes.
a distance, and that's on the stone layer. Well, everything above here, so from the digger elevated up to where we are, is clay.
I see.
So you dig down from here
Yeah.
and you just go into more and more clay.
Right.
Yeah.
I see.
So
Okay.
this hole's going to be 56 metres long by 43 metres wide.
Wow.
So it's going
That's
to get,
huge.
yeah, it's going to be a massive hole. All of this hill in front of us is going to be knocked down. So this is going to level here. So of course they've got to
amazing.
strip off all of the soil first, put it to one side, then do the earth moving or the clay moving, and then when it's all finished they can put the soil back.
Yeah.
And then we can reseed it, and you won't know in a year's time what's happened.
Amazing.
Yeah. This has been going on for at least a month. And,
Yes.
and these guys, when they first came, they put in the drains in their farmyard. That was their first job, and this was because the EA Environment Agency had come and they wrote a report on the findings of their inspection, and the main recommendation was to collect the yard water before it left the farm,
Yeah.
and then that'll end up here as well. So
it's all to do with not polluting the Nadder.
it is, yeah.
Well, that's really good. So would you recommend that other farmers do that round here?
Well,
Do
everyone's
what you're
getting
doing.
everyone's got an inspection, and yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of the slurry grants, was to give people incentive and a bit of money to upgrade their infrastructure, because this is the first EA inspection I've ever had, and I've been farming for 40 years, and they haven't enforced the rules, and
But now they are doing
they
so.
are. Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. So with the slurry grant, I was led down a different way entirely, with lots and lots of separation of slurry.
If
and
you'd
I'd-
taken the slurry grant.
yeah.
which-
So
but
I'm
you
free
didn't.
to keep my old system,
Right.
which is a lot better than what they
But
were
you have to
suggesting.
put your own money into it.
Yeah, and luckily the milk price is really good at the moment, so it's out of profit. So
Oh, well, that's good news.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I see. Oh, okay.
You're listening to TisTalk from Tisbury, Wiltshire.
Now, Jerry Mason from Tisbury Parish Council has some news about the Southwestern pub that I think many people might be rather interested in.
I'm very pleased to hear that it's been sold.
Okay.
It was due to go to auction. It was purchased prior to auction by the owner of the Doghouse pub in Gillingham.
Okay.
I haven't spoken to him personally, but apparently his plans are to reopen it as a pub, which is
Great.
very welcome. I suspect it might just have to be more than just a pub. I think hopefully they will put a chef in there. You never know, we might have somewhere different to eat.
Okay.
Not to decry the eating places that already exist in Tisbury, but variety is the spice of life. So it's good to see the building back in use again. That's the important thing.
Yes. Do you have any idea when that might happen, when he might start redeveloping it?
Well, I would think he would probably try to get open for Christmas.
Yes.
Make the most of the Christmas season.
You'd have thought so, wouldn't you?
I would, yeah. So if he's ready now, if he's not going to do any structural work on it, then it's a case of refurbishing whatever needs to be refurbished, rekitting it. It's just good news for the village to see it open again. I mean, I know it's got holds a lot of memories for a lot of the older residents in the village.
True.
I've never been in there when it was open as a pub. It's before my time here, but I certainly enjoy going back in there and having a drink.
They always used to have a great atmosphere.
Yeah. I mean, it's fairly unique. It's literally opposite the railway station. So if you're coming into Tisbury, leave your car at home and travel by train and come and have a drink, explore the village, and then perhaps go home and recommend it to your friends.
Yeah.
And finally, we have Lal Pointer with the What's On.
On Tuesday the 13th of May, chair yoga will take place in the Hinton Hall. This is a free session of gentle yoga moves adapted for a chair. Later on, also in the Hinton Hall at 7:30 p.m, the History Society will be holding a talk given by Nick Baxter titled Hill Forts to Pillboxes Episodes from Wiltshire's Military Past. On Wednesday at 10 until 11:30 a.m, TisTalk's Stay and Play group from 0 to 3 years meets in the Methodist Church. At 11 a.m. until 1 p.m, Wiltshire Sight and Vice Social Group will be in the Nadder Centre. On Saturday the 17th at 10 a.m. until 11 a.m, Tisbury Country Market will be at the Victoria Hall. And on Sunday the 18th, 10:30 until 4:30 p.m, it will be open day at the old Fonthill Abbey grounds. Looking ahead, there will be a car boot sale on Sunday the June the 8th on Tisbury's King George IV playing field up by the Nadder Centre. It's £5 a car, just turn up, no need to book. Then on Sunday the 14th of June, it's Tisbury's big village fete, and if you can spare time on the day to help with stalls or set up organising the games, then please contact Bev Cornish, Parish Council Clerk, on 07453 969 909, or Jerry Mason, Vice Chair of the Parish Council, on 07564 141 747, or email
Tisbury_village_fate@proton.me.
Listen out to TisTalk next week to hear Jerry Mason looking forward to these two community events. And that's it for this week.
Just to play us out, we have the folk musicians from Ansty May Day playing for the children dancing around the maypole on May the 5th.